It's taken South Bend some time to recover since the Studebaker plant shut down 52 years ago. Nearby Gary has seen similar struggles when the steel industry laid off thousands. As the city continues to make a comeback, the Gary Police Department is getting special attention and grant money from Washington. Maria Catanzarite traveled to Gary to learn why.
It's because the Justice Department has selected Gary to be one of the first cities for a new community policing program. 5 other cities, including Pittsburgh and Minneapolis, they're on that list as well. Now, the major goals are to improve relationships and trust between the police and the public. Gary's chief of police says the program is going to open doors. Residents hope it will open lines of communication and more. The tassels of a tired town, taller these days after the local steel mill laid off a lot of people. But that was years ago. Still, the population thinned, forcing more shops to shut their doors, which meant more empty pockets.
If there is no income, economic wealth in the city, then there will be a high rate of crime in the city.
Whether you ask the police chief,
Gary is a city on a comeback,
or the preacher,
Gary is a city that has the ability to be one of the greatest cities in the country.
Heck, even the city of the century.
Public safety is a significant portion of that renaissance because the challenges that we have had in public safety have been a part of the negative story about Gary.
New chapters ahead, though, for Gary Police. Back in March, the Department of Justice handpicked Gary and 5 other cities nationwide for a new community policing program.
It's been a great opportunity for the police department to expand, to be more in touch with the community, and for the community to be more in touch with the police department.
Formally speaking, the program's called the National Initiative for Building Community Trust and Justice. 3 years of training from a handful of universities.
I think it's proactive for us. I mean, because while we might not have some of the issues that other cities have yet, I think that it's going to help prevent certain things from happening, hopefully.
For us, it's kind of complex because we have a significant number of police officers who are men and women of color.
The mayor, Karen Freeman Wilson, saying the issues aren't so much race-related.
It becomes a difficult situation when the same brother who grew up with you or the same sister you grew up with, you now have to deal with them with different laws and different things of that sort.
Making the public-police relationship kind of complicated.
It's because a lot of police don't understand what's going on in the community, and they don't take the time to research. The ones that didn't grow up here, they don't take the time to research, and it's just like all law without knowing the heart of the community.
The training covers 3 areas: implicit bias, racial reconciliation, and procedural justice. Starting with the first issue, the goal there is to help officers weed out deep-seated thoughts. Take this example from Nycletha Bird.
The one with their pants halfway their thighs, they might be the genius in the city, book-wise. They may be the best person in the city. Sometimes the police officers automatically think that they're going to be trouble, and that's not always true.
Part of the reason Gary PD and residents will clear the air in the racial reconciliation process. In essence, it's addressing past problems with the hope of rebuilding relationships.
We're predominantly African American, so I think that needs to happen in Gary so that we can get a better understanding of what are some of the issues of our people. What are we struggling with? What are we dealing with?
I believe that is needed as well so that we won't end up as some other cities with riots and things because, again, not knowing the laws.
And why don't folks obey the law? That leads us to the importance of procedural justice. Put by the DOJ, people are more likely to listen when they believe laws and law enforcement are legitimate.
When you respect people and you have that professionalism, they see that. I mean, we go back to the broken window syndrome. If a citizen doesn't see the professionalism in the officer, then the citizen is not going to act appropriate.
So with the national initiative,
my greatest hope is that, number one, that they will teach to our police department communication skills, that they will teach them understand why something is happening before you just look at them and say, you look like you're guilty.
It's kind of like the grandparent helping out the parent in order to help out the child, if you will. It'll teach us that every police officer isn't a bad police officer. They won't be like, oh, here comes a young black guy or here comes a young black girl, you know, and they're so defensive. It'll be more of, let me talk to this person.
Communication.
Exactly.
Some of my greatest hopes is so that we can completely transform the way we police, not only in the city of Gary, but nationally, to make it better for the community, make it safer for them, and to make it safer for our officers as well.
When this is said and done, that our people are empowered because of knowledge, our police officers know a little bit more, that we have been strengthened and helped and restored because of the Department of Justice coming in and helping.
The program in Gary is still in the early stages, and aside from Gary, the 5 other pilot cities are Birmingham, Alabama, Fort Worth, Texas, Minneapolis, Pittsburgh, and Stockton, California. Gary just so happens to be the smallest city in the program.
Thank you, Maria. And tomorrow night, we wrap up our series, Police and the Public. The chiefs from Kalamazoo and Gary talk about the lessons they've learned and how other communities can benefit from what they have gone through.